Welcome into another episode of Fully Unscripted. I'm Todd Lanter. That's Cash Daniel. That's Angelo Carriero. You say your name better than I can say your name. Can you say your name for me?
Angelo Carriero.
With a voice for radio. This is Angelo, who is the producer slash co-host slash what else?
I do it all.
Everything for ESPN Radio for the pregame and postgame show that we do for Kentucky basketball. He's joining us today to give us a little feedback on the way the Cats have been playing on the hardwood, while Cash is here to offer his expertise on
since I have so much expertise to give.
NFL playoffs.
Excuse
me.
Oh, well, the NFL playoffs.
And offer us absolutely nothing else.
I'm here, Anna. Oh man!
All right, so let's start. I'll let one of you all take it away. Either one of you. What do you want to? We're going to start with this kid from the Florida commit.
Yeah,
just broke. This news just broke.
Yeah, so we were sitting here waiting on the in-ear monitors, and I look up at the TV, and it was talking about how Jaden Rashada committed to Florida, was promised $13 million in the NIL collector from the University of Florida before he signed his national letter of intent, and then after he signed, Florida informed him that was no longer going to be the case and could not make that happen. So he actually requested his release from the University of Florida from his national letter of intent, and that's about it.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I've never heard of that ever happening.
$13 million. Yeah, they just falsify. They're just like, yeah, we'll give you $13 million. You should come to Florida. And then he signs his letter, and they're like, just kidding. See you in the fall, bro. Like, what? How is that even? Like, I'd sue him. You got to sue him, right? There's no precedent for this. I mean, NIL's new. You got to sue him.
I think you actually might have grounds to do that.
I'm serious. It's a precedent that you could set. I mean, if I'm him, I'm suing the University of Florida for, I don't even know what, there's all kinds of legal precedent you could wrap it around. I would sue the University of Florida and set grounds so this doesn't happen again.
Well, I mean, like you said, this is like still the wild, wild west of NIL. And, when you have something like that that's promised so much money, I'm sitting there thinking $13 million. And that's just from the collective. That's not from, different brands that he could do work with or anything of that matter. That's just from the University of Florida NIL collective in itself. So that kid not only missed out on $13 million from the University of Florida, he's missing out who knows how much money that once he got to Gainesville, of local brands, local companies, or the entire state of Florida, who knows how much money the kid been missing out on.
$13 million. You know how many cans of long cut Copenhagen that is?
I don't even want to talk about it. I was literally telling Angelo before that. I'm sitting there going like I try my best. And again, I think NIL is great. I think those kids should be paid. I think we should have been paid this whole time.
Yeah, 100%.
But I'm sitting there thinking I was 2 years away from that stuff, man.
Yeah,
2 years away.
Missed it.
Barely.
They almost changed it in 2015.
If I would have gotten red-shirted, I would have gotten it for at least 1 year.
Because of COVID.
Because of COVID.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would have had a COVID year.
Yeah.
And we know of all the players, like recently, I think that Cash probably would have made the biggest killing at least.
So I'm not making this up, and I didn't believe it either. And this is not a shot at you. I'm not trying to be offensive at all. I know I give you shit a lot, but UK Athletics ran a algorithm to guesstimate how much past athletes would have made off of NIL. Cash was fourth on that list. Fourth.
Out
of everybody. AD, John Wall. Who was the other one?
AD, John Wall, and
I can't remember who the other.
It was another basketball player.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Cash would have been the most profitable athlete in the football.
Cousins. I think it was Cousins.
DeMarcus.
Yeah, I think it was Cousins.
In football, for NIL, hometown kid. Brandable. No, not blowing smoke up your ass because I'd rather give you shit. But that's a crazy stat. That's a crazy stat.
Of any player, especially with everything, the way that the Eastern Kentucky ties to being a UK football athlete, to everything, especially with coinciding with success as well. That's a big part of it. But
you could have gotten a Head and Shoulders deal.
Oh, dude, Pantene, Head and Shoulders, fishing rod companies,
Copenhagen. What is it? Raven Bows.
Yeah, Remington. I get like a Remington. Shut up, Todd. Jesus Christ. Just keep patting me on the back instead of pissing me off. But yeah, it's and don't get me wrong. I didn't get paid, obviously, but I still did get a lot of free shit even when we weren't supposed to.
Right.
Like I facilitated those deals. Like I don't know if that's going to get UK in trouble or not. Like I don't think so.
UK doesn't know about that.
Yeah, they don't know. But like there was a couple deals to where like, you know, it's as long as you don't like make it look like you're actually advertising for a product or a brand. Like people would send me shit all the time and I would just literally like tag them in the post. Like that's all I would do with like, you know, my own caption or whatever that's not in an advertising form, you know, but I'd still get like, you know, free product and all that stuff. But actually one company, I don't want to admit, they are a shampoo company, but what they used to do is that like they said, okay, all you have to do, like, so we cover our bases, you pay for shipping and handling, and then whatever shows up in the box just shows up in the box. Like we have no control over that.
I got suspended once for working for Wildcat Moving in the summer, during the summer.
Yeah, because we're not allowed to get jobs.
I know, but
that's stupid.
I mean,
How were they even allowed to pull that off?
I have no idea.
How can you even do that?
Idea.
I'll tell you what, the way that I made extra money in college, I used to go back home, you know, because I was a small town kid and coming up here, like literally like where I'm from, and in those days, like social media wasn't as big, so everything wasn't as accessible as it is today. So like we literally grew up looking at Lexington like it was fucking New York City, you know, like the big city of Kentucky. Yeah. And so me coming up here from being from, you know, I graduated with, you know, 50 kids almost, and in a town that was probably had, I don't know, maybe 3,000 people in it, if that. Like literally,
Hayesville's only got 3,000.
3,000 people literally knew everybody. Like you knew, you know, your best friend, obviously. You knew their dad, their grandmother, their aunt, their uncle.
I
like,
mean, you got to be
everybody.
related to 20% of those people.
Is that a Eastern Kentucky jab?
No, I'm not.
I don't take kindly to that.
I'm not trying to be funny. Like I'm saying, like
No,
if there's
you have
only 3,000 people.
Well, I think I don't know
Like-
if it's the sign when you come into Paintsville, it says 5,000. But that's been there since like 1997 or whatever. They've not really updated it yet. So to be quite honest with you, I really couldn't tell you the population of Paintsville. But I know that so many people that have left to come up to Lexington or go to different places because of the opportunity that they have, because there's no opportunity back home outside of, you know, being a doctor, being a lawyer. Like you have to be in a specific field if you want to actually be able to sustain a life there. And without, you know, living in, you know, harder conditions, just put it that way. But coming up here, you know, I would go home a lot because, like, you know, when I graduated, especially when I graduated early, because like all my boys were still in high school, like I would go back and hang out with them on the weekends and stuff. And before I started, you know, really trying to be more social out, like with my teammates and different things like that. But I would come back with like 2-3 crates of moonshine, and I would sell moonshine.
You should loan me a bottle, by the way.
I can get you that. I would literally, so back home in those days, like you would sell it for maybe $25 a quart. I would come up here and sell it for $100 because nobody else had like legit moonshine. So I go back and Uncle Jim's sitting there and I'm like, hey, I need me a couple cases. And so I'd pay him how much money that I would need to buy those cases, and I'd bring it up here and sell it for $100.
Yeah.
Look at him right now, especially with the beanie and the shirt on and stuff. Man, he was flipping tricks to these little preppy boys up here. You know, $100. That's a deal. He's over here. He's got it in his jacket pocket, trying to make these side deals.
Don't sit here and tell me you didn't water it down either.
Oh, you know you did.
Wait.
Oh, you told me this one, didn't you?
Yeah. So I literally, so like I would sell them like the legit jars, like I really would, but I hadn't been home in like a week or two. And that shit would go quick, man. That shit would go quick. And so
hang on. Is this the one you were drinking it at a frat party?
No, it was at a cheerleader party, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know that.
Those
were the craziest parties.
Oh my God! Don't even start on that.
Those were the craziest ones.
So I was.
Kristen. Kristen was a cheerleader. We'll get her to.
Yeah, and I was back in the '90s when there was no cameras, you know, and everything like that. So I can only imagine. But so we're sitting there, and this baseball player walked up to me, and I had my last jar that I had, and I was just, you know, sipping on it, passing around to my football buddies and everything. He was like, "Yo, bro, is that fucking moonshine, dude?" And I was like, "Yeah, bub." And he goes, "Dude, can I have a drink?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So I hand him the jar, and he takes a sip. "Oh man, that's good shit, man. I've not had that, you know, since I was back home. And man, you get this?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, I'm from here, so I mean, you know, my family makes it." She goes, "Bro, I will buy a bottle from you tomorrow." And I'm sitting there thinking, damn, I've not been home in a week, but then all of a sudden, the light bulb went off my head. Okay, gotcha, bub. So I literally took that half quart of shine, went to the local liquor barn and got a fifth of Everclear, and poured the Everclear down into it, shook it up and everything like that. I was like, this dude ain't gonna know the fucking difference. And he goes, how much do you want for it? I was like, $100. He's like, deal, no problem. Met him. I met him over behind the student center, or not student center, but the behind Joe Kraft, and where everybody parks after class.
Checked his ID, made sure he was 21.
I didn't care if he was 21 or 19 at that point. And I pull it out and I hand it to him, and he takes a cig, goes, oh yeah, that's the stuff. And I was like, you idiot, give me $100.
And he was never heard from again.
Never.
After he cleared a bottle of Everclear, the baseball team's still looking for him.
He probably was face down in a ditch somewhere after drinking all that.
Did your family ever tell you growing up when you were drinking moonshine that it would make you go blind?
You drink enough of it, you go blind. Yeah. Yeah, that was always a thing.
So, all right, this is fully unscripted, so we're gonna stay on this tangent for a second. How much did, I guess, the limited life that you could build for yourself at home motivate you to, earn a scholarship with football?
That really wasn't my motivation. To be quite honest with you, I loved it. I loved the simple life, and I've been doing a lot of, I reflect a lot.
Not you.
No, not me. Living by yourself, doing a lot of things by yourself. You're alone with your thoughts along a lot of the long nights and stuff. So I do a lot of reflecting, and what I can do to be better, in every aspect of my life, and for me to grow as a person. But that was never really a motivating factor for me to get out of Eastern Kentucky. Now, a little bit of it was, but that wasn't my main motivation. My main motivation was to get a scholarship because I didn't want my dad to pay for me to go to school. That was my biggest thing, because he he sacrificed so much for me. He basically raised me on his own, me and my sister. And he drove me to camps, drove me to combines, all this stuff, and still worked his ass off. He was a drug rep, so he would wake up and he would drop me and my sister off at school. Then he would drive all over Eastern Kentucky, Southern Ohio, full day of just driving, going to meet with these doctors and stuff, and still make it back, to pick me up from practice or, whatnot, and hang out with my sister and me, cook dinner and all that stuff. So my dad was a fucking warrior, man. He really was, and, really inspired me to, know what you have to do in order to be a father, one day. And it kind of takes us back to what Coach Stoops used to tell us all the time. It was, boys do what they want to do, men do what they have to do. And every time he said that, I just remembered my dad and how much he sacrificed. And so it was that alone was my motivating factor, and the fact that so my dad played college athletics. Like I told you, if we get Kenny Scott Walker on here one time, I'm gonna joke about the time he dunked on my dad. It did not count because there was a foul on the floor before it, but I still give my dad some shit about that. So Dad played basketball and baseball at ETSU, and in a small town, you hear stories about everybody, and legends, and really one of the main motivating factors for me was a guy named Joey Couch, rest in peace. Great, literally the greatest athlete as a whole to come through Paintsville High School. 2,000 point, I think he had over 2,000 points in basketball. Great football player. Came up here starting nose guard for 3 years, made all SEC, and he actually got to come back and coach me in high school for 1 year. And I told him that was my dream, was to play, college athletics. And he was always telling me, he's like, if I can do it, you can too. And that was always one of the main motivating factors for me. But going back to you hear stories, you're such in a small town, anybody that was halfway decent good, they're going to talk about them like they were Michael Jordan or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And my dad was a pretty good basketball player. He was 6'5". And everybody would say he could. I literally had dinner with one of my business partners this week, and we were talking about my granddad and my dad and everybody, and he was like, "Son," he goes, "let me tell you," and this is what literally one of the first times I ever heard somebody talk about my dad. This is what everybody always said. They said, "Your dad could lick the tip of his fingertips, take one step, touch the top of the square, where the square is on the backboard, and smack it, and you can see his imprint right there." And
that's bounce.
Yeah, he could jump. And found some old videos. Pops had it. He was pretty good. And it was always a thing like I wanted to be better than him. And looking back, like when I reflect upon it, like I didn't do it so much for me, you know. I did it so I can be better than my dad or prove people wrong and all this different stuff. And like, because like anything that you do, sports, podcast, you know, whatever you want to do, like you have to have a sense of you want to do this for you. And I didn't really have that. I had it to the point to where like, you know, my dad was hard on my ass the whole time to where, and you know, I'm sitting here acting like I have like fucking daddy issues or whatnot, but he's actually one of my best friends. And, but it was always just that motivating factor, like that I just wanted to be better than him and I wanted to be better than, you know, anybody that they could talk about really, you know, kind of selfishly thinking like that. But, it got me to where I was, and you know, it was, you know, it was one of those things that just worked out for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But
it's funny. He was talking about that small town story where you're talking about everybody was the next coming to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
See, I had a little thing like that. Actually, a guy that you know, Todd, had a guy like that down in Madison County. When I was coming up, I was about a senior in high school. Everybody always talked about somebody. Even when I was growing up, we talked about the kids around us. Like, you know, X next going to be the next kid. This kid's going to be the next kid. Nobody ever really like made it. And this was another kid just in that line. And they said, there's this kid out in 8th grade, football, basketball. You got to check him out. And I'm like, I don't even care. What's his name?
Do you remember Bluegrass Rivals? Like on the internet?
Yeah.
Like the forums and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Like, people would get on there and they would talk about that shit the whole time. Oh, this 8th grader out of hazard, you know, and all this shit. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you guys have no idea, man. But like, and going back to like what I was saying, like, it was always for like external validation almost. And I'm coming to a point now to where like anything I do, like, it's just for my own, my own validation in myself. I don't give a fuck what, you know, anybody else thinks about it. I mean, as long as I'm happy and as long as I know that I'm working hard toward it and doing it, you know, that's really all that matters. And so like I've had to, you know, kind of put that aside or like kind of reprogram my brain, you know, on, because even in any kind of athletics, you know, you can attest to this, like you do good in practice, you're rewarded with playing time. You do good in a game, you're rewarded, you know, whatever. And to where like now, like I don't have that, you know, like nobody's going to sit here like if we have this killer podcast right now, you know, nobody at the end of the day is going to be like, hey, here's, you know, $1 million off of, you know, one podcast episode. So it's just like, as long as like I feel good about it and as long as I feel like, you know, I'm working hard in it for myself and not for anybody else's validation on it, I could give a shit, dude. And like I think that's part of me just, you know, trying to grow up and you know, try to become, you know, my own person rather than living through the opinion of other people.
Man, people, go ahead. I want you to finish your point.
I was just going to say,
my bad,
long story short, it was Dominique Hawkins. Is the guy that was the 8th grader that they were talking about.
I was going to say, it had to be done.
He ended up playing University of Kentucky. I kind of want to hit on what you said and what Coach Stoop said for a second, because where you said, like, boys do what they want to do, men do what they have to do. For a long time, I was a boy. Like, I wasn't really living for anybody. Like my family was kind of, they were kind of taken care of, you know, in their own sense. I was doing my own thing. I was paying my own bills. I was making my own way, but I only had to worry about me. And that's all I had to do. So I went out and did things I want. I went out and I was like, you know what? I do want to go do sports radio. I do want to go and try this career out. I want to be a play-by-play broadcaster in high school. I want to go cover Kentucky. I want to go cover the Bengals, meet all these NFL players like I have. I wanted to do all that. The older I got, the more that it became apparent that it wasn't just me that I was going to have to live for. The people that helped me were starting to need help. And the people that I love and my motivations starting to get older. Like my little sister, my motivation. So she's starting to get a little older. She's going to need things that like my grandparents stuff, they can't provide anymore. So now, like in my career path and what I'm doing, it's like that you're talking about where, and because I didn't give, like you said, I didn't give a shit about what anybody had to say about what I did or what I wanted to do. I thought it was cool. And the money I made, it was the money I made. Yeah. But now I got like a day job. I'm making more, like I'm doing more financially solid things because you have to do things for other people, because you have to do it for them because they helped you out. And whether or not they'll ever say it to you, you owe them. You know, to whom is much given, much is expected.
I'll say this though, you are and I'm not saying this to blow smoke up your ass because I give you a hard time too.
Yeah, I was going to say, being nice to him, now me. This is not the Todd that Cash and I see on a day-to-day basis.
It's not normal.
It's not an accident that you're, sitting there. Like your knowledge and your respect for the game, and I mean that, basketball, football, golf, tennis, doesn't matter. Your respect for what goes into that, it shows through in what you do and your passion for what you do. You've always been, talented on the air, which if you remember, I know you remember this, but our first time on the air together, we did the pregame show, and then Matthew, who's the co-host for the pre and postgame show, was not able to do the postgame this particular day. And this is probably 4 years ago.
God, it was. I swear it was in the middle of like your first season.
It might have been.
I want to say it was.
Probably 4 years ago.
You were pretty green.
Yeah, and I'm not phenomenal on the radio because I say what I think. I'm not speaking.
That's your job. Yeah.
And this isn't. I don't know how to word this properly, but I don't say what the audience wants to hear. I don't really, you get on me about my ums or my hesitation. I'm making sure that I articulate my point as clearly as I can without putting my foot in my mouth. Like, that's my goal. You, however, have a presence that I was not expecting to hear. And so when Matthew was absent that day, you stepped in, and I was like, I don't know how to bring us back. Like, I'm not here to entertain the audience. I'm here to give you my perspective on what I just watched. And you're like, don't worry about it, I got it. And you came in and just rocked it out. And I was like, this guy's got a talent for this, because that is what you want. Like, that's what you want your profession to be, and you're phenomenal at it. And I know you've done a lot of other things, and we'll get into that as we dive into the NFL as well. So is that the greatest transition in the history of?
I've had some pretty good transitions on here, though. I will say that.
I didn't even see that one coming.
I didn't either.
I didn't
either. That was good.
So let's dive in here to NFL playoffs.
Go ahead.
Why don't you start us off?
NFL playoffs.
You mentioned the Bengals. You covered the Bengals.
We've mentioned the Bengals. Yeah, so I covered the Bengals. I mean, I've got to see a lot of cool athletes. Actually, Kansas City that's in there. I was in their locker room a couple weeks ago.
Am I still the greatest athlete that you know?
You're not the greatest athlete in these three chairs. In these two chairs, right? No, I'm just kidding. Todd infinitely better than I ever was.
I'm just kidding. Go on.
I will say, I was in the locker room. I got to be next to Patrick Mahomes. I've been next to Drew Brees, like going through there. I'm trying to think of the teams that are in there right now. The Jags, I've been in their locker room before doing all that. It's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And before Brady got knocked out, that was like it's the one thing that I always tell people that love sports radio is that, or just sports in general, that what I've done, that they'll go, oh my God, that's so cool that Tom Brady answered a question at a presser of mine and stuff, and everybody's like, Tom Brady? Yeah,
let's talk about Tom Brady for a second, because in speaking of pressers, he had that press conference after the game after they lost the other night, and the way that he ended it, basically made it sound like he's done in Tampa Bay.
He's done in Tampa Bay.
Is he done in general, or is he done in Tampa Bay?
Done in Tampa Bay.
Kind of like Aaron Rodgers. Is he done, or is he done in Green Bay?
Both of them are done where they belong. He's a huge Green Bay guy.
Same. Yeah.
I'll say this.
Did you listen to him on?
He's a Green Bay guy too. Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers Tuesday on Pat McAfee. Yesterday?
I have not. No, I haven't.
So he was talking yesterday, and they were kind of him and Pat are boys, and they do a great job of. Pat does a great job of like putting out questions to where like he doesn't want to back him into a corner, he kind of wants to be able to give him his own answer without spilling too much. He doesn't want to seem like pressing like everybody else in the sports media world would be. Mm-hmm. He kind of wants to make you feel more comfortable. That's why he comes on every single week for him, because he does a great job of what he does. And they were just asking questions about like what would it take, are you feeling different markets or different areas you're feeling? He's like, what I got from it was Aaron Rodgers basically said, listen, I'm a 3-time MVP. Did I play to the MVP level this year? No. We got to be able to look at the roster. We got to be able to look at, what future plans may be. And he said, I still believe, that I can play at an MVP caliber. And I totally believe that. I think he can.
You believe it?
I think he can.
You think he can?
I think he can. Because, look at what happened around him this year. He had one of the youngest receiving corps in NFL. You had what's the one guy's name? I draw
Watson, Dobbs.
Watson came on like at the first of the season. You were like
Romeo.
You were like, who are these guys? Mm-hmm. And then Watson came into his own. He's a dog by the end of the season. So
great pick. Yeah.
If they could go out and literally just try to find him, obviously he wants to bring Randall Cobb back. I can't remember who else he said he wanted to bring back.
Like Mercedes Lewis,
Bakhtiari,
Lazard.
Randall's contract's up, right?
Yeah, but he wants to bring, like, I think one of the deals is like, if I come back, you got to bring Randall Cobb.
And he ain't coming back on no $10 million deal. It'll be like a $2 million deal, like veterans minimum type deal.
Exactly. But let's
Randall's
go back to Tom Brady. Do you think he's done in Tampa Bay?
I think he's done in Tampa Bay. I think Todd hit it on the head. When it comes to Tom Brady and what he wants, I mean, I don't know what he wants, because once he got the 7 Super Bowls, you have officially, as a player, won more than any franchise has, period. So why did you come back? What is it an addiction? Because you look at a lot of quarterbacks. Brett Favre went off.
So that she didn't get half of that $100 million TV.
That's a good conspiracy. But I think that like ultimately it comes down to like you said, he's such a dominant player, one of the, like, literally the GOAT. You got guys like Favre, guys like Manning. He's better than all of them, in my opinion. But I think it has something to do with how his retirement news got broke. I think he was wanting to go out on his own terms of him announcing it, that he was going to retire, rather than someone have said it for him.
Cash, I think you're going to like this, because I want to give examples. Whenever you try to get a mentality of an athlete that doesn't tell you straight up, why did you stop? Why did you do anything? I want to look at the past history. There's one quarterback, and it's not even in this century, that I can look at and say they left on their own terms. That was John Elway after he won his 2nd Super Bowl. He decided to book it. Let's look at the greats. Peyton Manning, he retired bawling his eyes out because he physically, with his neck injuries, could not play anymore. He has admitted it multiple times that if his body would have held up, he would have kept playing. He landed on his sword. Brett Favre, he had an MVP level season in 2010. 2011, he was like 2 touchdowns to 11 picks or something. He had aged rapidly, and he was out of the league, and he had to retire. Ben Roethlisberger sucked last year, had to retire. Like on that, you look at Drew Brees, 4 interceptions in his last game. He had to retire because the arm was shot. A lot of these all-time great quarterbacks, you can go to even a guy like Donovan McNabb's level, Dante Culpepper's level. It's injuries and all that.
So you think that Tom and Aaron both are capable of playing?
Just Tom. I think Tom, it seems like if we're looking at the patterns of these star quarterbacks, Tom's going to play until he is absolute dog shit. And then he's going to go, okay, I have to hang it up.
Was Monday night any indication of him tapering off?
Honestly, I thought his worst seasons kind of coincided with Aaron's. Even though I think this is actually Aaron's worst season that he had. Yeah. I was not a big fan of how he played this year, as much as that's like my favorite player ever. Tom Brady was worse in 2019 with New England when that was really starting to plummet. Then he goes to Tampa Bay and does his thing. I thought he was better this year than he was that year. Do I think it was as good as last year? Maybe not. And I think that he is pretty protective of his body, taking hits. I think anybody at that age and that stature would.
They were blasting through that line on Monday night too.
Oh, that's why he's gone.
Yeah.
We all agree he's not gone in Tampa because of Tampa. He's gone because those dudes ain't going to win him another title. Yeah. No. He's going to go find somewhere to win him a title.
So we'll stick with this for a second. So what's the options? Because to me there's 2.
San Francisco, 3. Las Vegas.
San Francisco, Las Vegas, but Las Vegas isn't going to win him a title.
No.
San Francisco, maybe. I'll give you one out of left field.
Vegas has the money.
I'll give you one out of left field.
They have the money to be able to go out and get guys out on the market.
Potentially. Okay, so I think Vegas makes the most sense for him as far as he knows the coach. They got a phenomenal running back, wide receiver, tight end, everything, right? Love that situation for him as far as winning ball games. I don't know if it's a title team. Niners, possibly. I'll give you one out of left field, though. The Jets.
I don't know. I don't know about New York.
So the Jets, because of what they got, like Elijah Vera Tucker is one of the best young offensive linemen in the league. He got hurt, but he's coming back. I know it's weird to start with the offensive line, but what we just said and what you just said, if Tampa's offensive line is going to get him killed repeatedly, that's the one thing. Tom can maybe think to himself, well, I can make a receiver. Now, he did go to Tampa because of Godwin and because of Mike Evans and those guys, and they kind of built the line, around him when they got him. Mm-hmm. But you got to look at those things. They still got Mekhi Becton as a project. They signed a couple of guys. He needs to go somewhere where they are going to protect the hell out of him. And then they've got young studs. So I could see it. The defense is pretty ready
trading,
in New York.
Like you've got one of the best 1-2 punches in the league, receiver-wise, with Tampa, right? Mm-hmm. With those 2 that you just named. Mm-hmm. But you got running back, tight end, wide receiver, and a hell of an offensive line and all the other options. And in my opinion, you can make, like you said, you can make a better receiver if he's got time. Tom with time can, I mean, I could catch a ball for Tom.
But even with these, like, with the Brady, possible destinations, I think it could be the same thing with Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at Las Vegas. He's got.
If they both come back,
Devontae Adams.
He's got Devontae Adams there.
If they both come back, one of them's going to Las Vegas.
One of them's going to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I think, and you can look at San Francisco. I mean, Rodgers is a Northern California dude. He grew up going to Niners games.
So is Brady.
Yeah, exactly.
Would it look weirder seeing Brady or Rodgers in Raiders colors?
Rodgers. And it's weird because we've seen yeah, but you can't picture Aaron, especially with the greasy hair and the thing.
He got it cut.
Yeah, that's right. He did. He still looks a little questionable. You know what I mean?
I can't picture him in.
It's weird that he would be like more like 70s throwback
straight off
Raiders.
Show Vikings is what he'll look like if he grew the hair back out. Yeah, go ahead, show that off. You got a little skin tight fade.
A little Ragnar Lothbrok action here.
Yeah. Speaking of suing people, you should holler at that barber.
But yeah, no, I think San Francisco would make the most sense because Trey Lance didn't work out. We'll see how Brock Purdy does. Actually, that's one of my favorite points to make.
Unbelievable. Go ahead.
Is about Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And about that, I still think
it's not sustainable, right?
Well, here's the thing. And this is what's interesting about the San Francisco matchup against Dallas and anybody else that faces them coming up. The point of that offense, and you can say that, but that offense averages the most yards in the air of any team in the league, but you watch the games and you see what happens. Their entire motivation is to get the ball into the hands of their athletes as soon as possible and in space. And that's what they want to do. They didn't trade for Christian McCaffrey because they just wanted he's the top running back on the market or whatever. He's an absolute playmaker when you get him outside the numbers. What about Deebo Samuel? The one thing they say about him, it's funny. Christian McCaffrey's a wide receiver playing running back. They say Deebo's a running back playing wide receiver.
Yep.
All right? So when you say Purdy's not sustainable, well, I don't even think it's Purdy's choice. It's the job. It's going to be an offense of strictly getting the ball into Deebo, Christian, and Kittle's hands, and then you got to stop that.
Yeah, but when I say not sustainable, I mean he's not playing like a rookie.
No.
Can he continue on that trajectory? I mean, is he that good?
No, I was just talking about for this playoffs. Now, if we're talking about 5-10 years from now, I mean that's.
Okay, so do you like them on Sunday? They play Sunday, right?
Yeah.
They
like
play
them on Sunday?
Do they play? Yeah, they actually. I think they have the last game of the evening.
Yeah. Do you take
the
them?
6:30 game. Oh yeah, all the way. I mean, I'm not. They
got Dallas, right?
Yeah, they have the Cowboys. I don't really see a way unless they can isolate the matchups like I was talking about. Unless Trayvon can take Deebo out, Micah can take Christian out. And then you just have to pray somebody takes Kittle out, and then you just put the pressure on them otherwise and try to beat their other guys. But I don't see it.
So
I don't.
So you're taking the Niners?
I think the Niners right now are the hottest team in football, and oftentimes the hottest team that goes into the playoffs wins the Super Bowl. And it's not just some ragtag bunch. We're not talking about the New York Giants that have half an elite player on their roster. We're talking about a roster that has Trent Williams, who's been the best left tackle in football the past 3 years. You've got Nick Bosa on the lines, and that's also after I've said McCaffrey and Samuel, and they got that.
And you also got Fred Warner.
And you got Fred, all-pro linebacker.
I could literally watch Fred Warner play every single day.
That's the guy. We spent several minutes talking about him.
I literally watched. I had a tweet the other day. I said 71% of the world is covered by water. The other is covered by Fred Warner, because that guy literally plays sideline to sideline. And anytime that there's a tackle, I can guarantee you're going to see Fred Warner's jersey get up out. He may not make the initial tackle, but he is in on every single play. And when he gets his chance, he's going to knock your fucking block off.
I mean, if you think about it last year, if you even go to this model, you look at how the Rams won the Super Bowl last year. Aaron Donald, elite player. Jalen Ramsey, elite player. Andrew Whitworth was an elite player. And then you could count Cooper Kupp. And then Matt Stafford was like half an elite player.
What do you mean you can count Cooper Kupp?
You can.
You said it as if maybe.
Oh, I think. Wait. No. I think it was because I forgot his name for a second, and then I was like, because Matt Stafford's like a half an elite player, so he got like 4.5 elite. This is Warner, their safety. I don't know how to say his name off the top of my head, but he was a first-team All-Pro. Bosa, Williams, Caffrey, Samuel. You're starting to just pound for pound, player for player, just go, oh, this guy's like 2 or 3 times better than you and your backup if they get it. It's insane what they're. And I don't want the Niners to win. I really don't. But at the same time, that to me right now is the team to beat in the playoffs.
I'm not gonna put too much weight in this, but a guy that I respect a lot, who is a analyst in the purest sense of the word.
You can put a lot of weight in my name.
Oh my god. He's not an analyst in the way that we would talk about it, as if like he analyzes sports and speaks about it publicly in a media format. But he is an analyst, as in he looks at statistics and behaviors and all the things that go into it, and gambles. And he is the most efficient gambler I have ever seen, and it's not even close. I mean, he is really, really good, and he is backing the Cowboys for a Super Bowl. And I was like, that is out of left field for me. And a lot of, don't get me wrong, a lot of it's based on, weight of how that money plays out against the lines and things. But he likes the Cowboys, and he says they're going to get past the Niners. And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about football at all here. I'm talking about purely.
But a guy that puts that much effort into his gambling doesn't put money on it to lose money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's a huge point.
And this guy, to be fair, we're not talking about little bits of money. We're talking about a lot of money.
Yeah, we're talking about big-time roller.
Yeah, and he's heavy on Dallas, and I had the same question. I was like, I don't understand, where we're at. So I'm anxious to watch. I thought, based on what I know about sports, the Niners are going to roll through Dallas, and now I'm like more hyped up to watch that game than I am. Well, close. Bills Bengals, who is my pick, by the way. Whoever wins that game is my pick for the Super Bowl.
Well, let's talk. Well, real quick before we get on to that next, because actually I want to talk about that game next. Before we pick our game, because you all haven't picked Dallas, San Francisco yet. I took San Francisco, but real quick on Dallas. We got a lot of Dallas fans. Dallas kind of runs the world when it comes to the NFL. I don't believe in Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm. It was the best game of his career on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best game we've pretty much seen out of him this year, except, I mean, he did put up like a 40-burger against Minnesota, I think, one week. That might have been a good one, but he's thrown a ton of interceptions. I think going back to his last X amount of games, he's thrown like 17 interceptions since the playoffs last year and what he's played in. I thought he's been terribly inaccurate. I mean, one of the reasons Green Bay got back into the playoff picture was because Dak almost pretty much threw him out of that game against Green Bay and Lambeau. Do you all have faith after seeing what you saw Monday with the way that we've seen Dak Prescott? I mean, I think Mike McCarthy's an underrated coach. I think people like to hate on him. What do you all think about Dallas? Do you all think Dallas has a chance, and who's your all's pick?
I think Dallas has a chance, and not so much on the fact of Dak Prescott, more so on the fact of that defense. Especially when you got a guy like Micah Parsons, who you can literally move around at almost any position in that front seven.
Chess piece.
I mean, you could literally put him at inside linebacker. You could put him on the edge. You could, if you wanted to, you could probably put him in a fucking 3 technique if you really wanted.
Oh yeah,
easily, and he's still gonna go back there and wreak havoc. I mean, the first series of that game last week, I think Micah Parsons literally made 2 out of those 3 plays on that first 3 and out. So I mean, with a guy like that, you got a great inside linebacking core. You got exceptional safeties and corners. And that D line is so big, such a big D line. You got one of my old teammates, Quentin Bohanna, holding it down.
Yep.
Huge
Massive.
dude. And I actually got to go down and watch him play a couple weeks ago when they were in Nashville for the Thursday night game. And one of the things that I noticed was that, Jesus Christ, look at the size of this front seven. I mean, I know that the NFL is literally full of nothing but gargantuan monster human beings. Mm-hmm. But looking at that front seven of Dallas, I mean, you just looked at them and like, Jesus Christ, they're so much bigger than everybody else I've seen. So, I mean,
I feel like a butt is coming.
There is a butt. They're going, but it's the Cowboys at the end of the day.
That they find a way.
They find a way in the biggest moment to just blow it. And I just, like you're saying, the hottest team going into the playoffs, especially coming out of wild card weekend, is usually the team that's going to end up going to the Super Bowl and winning it. You could even look at in 2010 with the Packers and how they made that late season run coming into the playoffs. and how they had to go on the road every single playoff game and win every single one of those to get to the Super Bowl, and they beat the Steelers for the Super Bowl championship.
Last 3 games of that year, the relaxed year. That was the year that they beat the Cowboys on that Jared Cook catch that took them to the NFC Championship game. Now, that's the one thing, though. Green Bay, all day, that's the Cowboys killers. So, not Marlboro Reds, that's the Cowboy killers. You know what I'm saying?
That's hilarious. That was good.
There's
your promo for social media right there, Brandon. That right there.
But so that's the thing. So with the Packers out of the picture, maybe the Cowboys. I mean, I'm hoping the Cowboys knock them off. But but you're saying that if the Cowboys are going to choke, make a call for me. Who you got?
I got San Francisco in this one.
Todd?
I think I'm going to take San Francisco.
Okay.
And to be completely honest, I'm not obviously sold one way or the other, and I'm the least knowledgeable as far as football schematics go, sitting here in front of a microphone. So I don't deserve to have an opinion one way or the other. But Dallas does continually find ways to lose ball games, and I never bet against Tom Brady, so I bet the Bucs over the weekend or Monday. I'm going to sit this one out.
I don't know. Many a soul has lost some money to betting against Tom Brady. So I really do like this Cowboys team, and I hate that there's this stigma that they've had, with the way the last however many years have gone. I mean, it's been 30 years since they won a road playoff game. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
I heard that on ESPN.
They have not appeared in a Super Bowl. I'm not even sure they've appeared in an NFC Championship game since '95.
Okay, so they deservingly won that game in Tampa on the road. And they were the better team. It wasn't even close. They were the better team.
Close.
It was apparent during the game. They were very clearly the better team going into the game. I just thought, this is the greatest ever at quarterback. You can't bet against him, and Dallas usually finds a way to lose. Can they do that twice in San Francisco? I don't know. And San Francisco is phenomenally coached with all kinds of weapons. I just don't know that they can sustain it. I will say, however, and to be fair, I'm echoing what I heard on ESPN. I think it was on First Take, and I can't remember who it was that said it, but I'm echoing their sentiment here because I heard it and I was like, that's pretty spot on. But there's kind of a cloud lifted off of them now, right? They've got that first playoff win. I know that they obviously there's a Super Bowl in sight, and they want to win the conference and all this other stuff. But man, that's loud. I got to put this back in. And so I feel like there's a little bit of a weight lifted off their shoulder to an extent because, they're not expected to win this game, right? They're going to San Francisco as an underdog.
Absolutely.
There's got to be some form of just freedom in that I feel like they can come out and kind of perform a little bit weightless, like, hey, what do we have to lose? And most of the time they don't have that. They have this looming pressure of, well, we haven't won a playoff game, got to win a playoff game. Everybody's expecting us, we've had a good season, we got to win. And now that's kind of off their shoulders. I think that serves as an advantage going into this weekend for them. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. So I'm going to take the Niners. And I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. I think this Niners team is great. I'm a huge Christian McCaffrey fan. I love what the rookie's doing. It's going to be a phenomenal game. I'll be a fan either way. But if the Cowboys are able to go in there and kind of hush the naysayers, that'd be fantastic. And quite frankly, no matter win or lose, and this is a free pub for them, and I'm sure they're super ecstatic that they're getting free pub on the Fully Unscripted podcast. But I can't wait to watch Stephen A. on Monday morning after this game, because win or lose, he's going to have a ton to answer for, and it's going to be hilarious.
Man, I've been watching some of those clips that go around about Michael Irvin when he gets real pumped up about the Cowboys, baby. When it comes down to Micah Parsons, I love that stuff.
Brandon's like, and down on the game there.
So I've got San Francisco. I think they're the Super Bowl favorites. I'd put my money on them, but you said that you had another team.
I think it's going to be the winner of the Bills-Bengals. You're saying the Super Bowl winner?
I think that the Niners are going to win the Super Bowl. That's my prediction right now.
If I'm picking the winner of the Bills-Bengals, and if you're making me pick one, I'm going to go Bengals.
Okay, so give it to us.
Break it down?
I mean, if we're talking about the playoff games, I thought we were going to talk about the playoff games. You going to talk about it, or you just think, it's Bengals, let's move on to the next game?
Bengals and why?
First off, I want to ask a question. I interrupted Todd right as he went in.
No, go ahead.
Did y'all talk about the fallout of the whole seeding once the game got canceled? You all didn't talk about that.
You're welcome to. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you all because a lot of people, once the Because whenever anything tragic happens, you got to wait for it to go. Some jokes can't be made 3 years down the line, but cash laughs, and that's fine.
Come on.
But a situation like that, you got to be sensitive for a while. But then once the dust kind of settled and the NFL came out with their decision, it was, if it's Bills Chiefs, they get to play at a neutral site game for the title. Okay. If the Bills play the Bengals, that has to be at the Bills' place. And even though a 2 seed was on the line in that game,
hang on. It's. Am I tripping? I thought it was neutral site. Bengals.
No, the Bills are in Buffalo.
I thought it was neutral site.
No, that is if Kansas City and Buffalo may both make the AFC Championship.
How is it in Buffalo?
Because that's what the NFL decided to do.
But
this is the point. This is the point that I'm making.
Site.
This is not. No, that is exactly what happened. And that's why Bengals fans were upset about the outcome.
What gave them the edge? What gave Buffalo the edge?
I guess going into that game, they were the 2 seed. That's the only way. That game could have not only decided the 2 seed. If the Bengals had won that game and won out, I think the Chiefs may have had to lost one, but they could have gotten the 1 seed.
So hang on. They could have. So the Bengals and Bills have both played 15 games.
16. They played 16 and 17's the new. Yes.
17's the new what?
17's the new amount of games. Like you go 12 and 5.
Yeah.
They're 12 and 4. The Bengals are 12.
Because they added a game. Okay.
Yeah.
So they both played 1 game less than everyone else.
Yes.
But how did they get the edge?
So they determined it off winning percentage, which again, Bills won their last game. The Bengals won their last game. Didn't matter. Bills got the 2 seed, and you got to go to Buffalo.
I would have bet my left nut that it was a neutral site game. I thought that's what I read before.
But if Buffalo goes to the AFC Championship game, it's allowed to be a neutral site. If the Bengals win, it's an Arrowhead. If Kansas City were to win, how's that? How's that fair?
I have no idea.
It's not. The Bengals got the short end of that.
I definitely misread that. I definitely misread that. I mean, it being in Buffalo changes things a lot, obviously.
Well, now you're making me question it, even though I'm like almost like 100. Why are you making me question this?
To be fair, I read that before this past weekend, before the wild card. Actually, I read that before the last game of the regular season, when NFLPA put out the breakdown of what it was going to look like.
No, it says Cincinnati at Buffalo and ESPN. No neutral site, no nothing. I mean,
wow.
I'll click on it.
Well, that changes things. That changes things quite a bit. I wonder what the weather's going to be like up there.
Cold.
See.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now. ESPN's FPI predictor has Buffalo's the favorite. Game time weather looks to be 33 degrees and cloudy. The line's at because it's at Orchard Park, so it is in Buffalo, like I thought, and Buffalo's favored by 5.5.
That's an odd line.
Hammer it.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is for 2 teams that were essentially considered to be equal. A team in Cincinnati that has really proven in the second half of the year to be a top 3 team in the NFL, and even going into these playoffs. You could talk about the Ravens and their failures all you want and how close of a game that is. I mean, how many divisional games do you get like that? Didn't Buffalo just put up, what was it, they had a shootout with New England, and then on the other side, Miami and the Jets play 9-6. Anytime you get divisional matchups, they're going to be tough. You play them all the time, scout them all the time.
It's hard, and especially when you beat it. It's really hard to beat a team 3 times.
Yeah,
especially
no matter who it is.
No matter who it is.
Yeah. So who's your pick? Bills or Bengals?
I mean,
don't say Bengals. Bengals.
I say Bengals.
It's Bengals.
Bengals.
It's Bengals.
Tomato. I really
it's
don't care.
tomato and it's Bengals.
No, when you sound Bengals, it makes it sound like your nose is stuffed up, man. Get some nasal spray and say Bengals. Make it come from your chest. Damn, Tom.
Is it an A or an E?
It's an ALS. Bengals. Got him. See what I did there? You changed it up. Here's the thing. With Buffalo, right now, I think that after their game against Miami, a rookie quarterback, 7th-round pick, no matter the weapons, I mean, at the beginning of that game, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle were dropping balls left and right. So for that game to be close, it is a scare. I thought that they might get this high off the DeMar Hamlin situation and just kind of start running roughshod through teams.
Just coast through it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just really start ramming through them. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen that in 2 consecutive games. This is not the Buffalo Bills team that was in week 1, 2, 3, and 4 when they looked like possibly an all-time football team.
They did. I really love this Bengals team. I don't want to sound – I know I sound like a bandwagon fan when I say this, but, like, I love the ambiance around this team. It's really cool. Like, the fan base alone makes it fun. It's a cool team to want to support, especially after the Damar Hamlin thing. You want them to have this storybook ending. And
talking about the Bills or the Bengals?
The Bills. Did I say Bengals?
You said Bengals.
I'm sorry, Bills. You want them to have this storybook ending and everything. Obviously, I mean, and I don't even have, to be fair, I don't even have ties to the Bengals just being from Lexington. Like, you know, I never like default.
My thing is, I can never like. Everybody and their brother from the state of Kentucky is a Bengals fan.
Yeah, they like default, like because they're closest
the closest
proximity.
team.
Yeah,
so even in Eastern Kentucky.
Even in Eastern Kentucky, like my buddy,
thought they were all
my buddy down there
Steelers
sitting, Luke. He's from my same hometown. Probably one of the biggest Bengals fans I know.
If I'm picking teams based off proximity, then even though Bengals are an hour away, I'm still going with the Titans.
I'm going with the Titans.
Still going with the Titans because I love Nashville. I spend a ton of time in Nashville. I would be Titans for that reason. I don't like the Titans. I mean, I don't like the Titans. I don't like
Mike Vrabel's. I can get behind that any day.
I'm saying, like, I'm not going to, like, I can like a team and I can like athletes on that team, but I'm not like a Titans fan. I'm a Bengals fan right now because of what Joe Burrow's doing, and I really enjoy watching him play the game.
I don't feel great about it, but I'm going to pick Buffalo.
I'm going to go with Buffalo.
I'm going to go Bengals. And don't get me wrong, Josh Allen is a freak.
Dog.
A freak.
Yep.
And he's a monster. How big is he? Like 235?
6'5".
6'5", 235, 240.
God, he'd
like that.
step right on your forehead.
And can hurdle defensive backs.
He'd step right on your forehead.
And run you over if he wanted to. And then throw a ball 80, 90 yards in the air.
Well, he'd run you over.
Angelo?
I'll try my best.
I'm going to need you to do me a favor. It may not be this podcast, maybe some other time, but me and him are just going to line up, do board drill until someone quits.
You mean until you sent on to the hospital?
Yes.
We'll make sure to at least have the ambulance on site.
I would much rather go MMA style rather than football. I feel like I'm going to lose.
MMA, like, I don't care.
It would hurt you worse.
You can go MMA. You can go boxing. You can go football. You can.
I got a whole history you don't know about.
Anything to do with physicality. I would make you look like an 8-year-old.
You won't throw a horseshoe in right now.
I don't because I'm out of dip. I won't. You're right.
All right, let's go to the other side of the bracket. I'll let you lead us off here. Which one do you want to talk about first?
I mean, there's not much to talk about, and I don't feel like getting too deep into the Chargers-Jaguars game. We all saw how that happened, but fighter's chance for the Jaguars, or is this just clean-cut board, Kansas City, move on?
I don't know, man. You know, there's a aura around this Jaguars team, to be quite honest with you. You know, shout out my boys Luke and Josh Allen down there doing work. To be quite honest with you, I was watching this game the other night, and I saw they were down 28-0. I was like, I'm watching Vikings. Let's go ahead and put this on.
Vikings, not the team,
not the team,
show.
the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was trying to.
Yeah, let's just put on Ragnar Lothbrok and all those dudes. And I get an update from my phone talking about, Jags making a comeback.
So you gave up on your boys, is what you're saying. Just say it. Just say it into the mic.
He did.
Look into that camera.
And his third.
Look into that camera right there. And tell your boys that you gave up on them.
Well, I mean, they probably would have given up on me too.
and his grand boy, Corey Peters.
Yeah,
Corey Peters, man.
I forgot Corey was on that team.
I didn't even know until the playoff game.
I thought he was still with Arizona.
That was crazy. I saw him out there, and I'm like, man, that guy's still doing it.
That's wild, man. But yeah, so I turned it back over, and just to see. And the thing about it is, Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in the first half. Came back, and this is like a tale of two
tale of two halves.
Yeah, a tale of two halves, and it was just a. At the end of the day, though, I just think that Kansas City as a whole, not only are they talented, but they've been there before, and they know what it takes to win a playoff game. They know what it takes to win a Super Bowl, and they know how to use their weapons around them accordingly. You got a guy like Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, who, to be honest with you, I think have probably one of the most substantial. What's the word I'm looking for? Substantial. Connection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That I've never seen from any tight end receiver quarterback duo.
Are they the best?
I don't know.
Are they better than Jamar Chase and
See, I don't know, because we've not had a scenario where Jamar Chase looks at a coverage and runs a route and then comes back to the huddle and says, hey, if they play that again, I'm just going to run a seam, just like how Travis Kelce did last year.
It's Brady Gronk.
Yeah.
I think Travis Kelce and Mahomes are the great.
Travis Kelce's
I think they're comparable to Tom and Gronk with time, right?
I mean, some would say they're better.
I'm not going to argue that. I mean, it's crazy. It's like a default. It's like, oh, that didn't work. We'll just dump it off to him. Like,
he's pretty insane.
Like a lot. Like more often than not.
and I was a doubter for a long time. Not necessarily a doubter. It's just whenever anybody talked about Travis Kelce, I don't know why. I was always like, I like George Kittle more, or tight end X. Like, Kyle Pitts is going to take his play. And it's just at this point, it's a guy that just proved you wrong so many times. I'm like, yeah, just give it to him. Yeah. I mean, like, I've tried my best to not give him his shot.
So you're a hater.
He just no, I'm not a hater.
So you're a hater and you give up on your boys. I'm here by myself, Brandon. Just here being supportive.
Oh my God. Who do you got?
Staying strong in my faith, who I am. And
I'm going to go Kansas City.
Kansas City.
But
at least you got Kennard on Kansas City. Yeah, you're not going against all your boys.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I want Jacksonville to win, but if I was to place a bet on it, I would probably pick Kansas City.
So you're going Kansas City. I'm also.
I don't even think it's. I mean, respectfully, I don't know that it's going to be close. Kansas City's just a better team.
Last one, Philly, New York. Any strong feelings or thoughts about this game? I'm almost just ready to.
I was listening to Jalen Hurts talking about how New York is like targeting his shoulder, or whatever it is, because obviously he spent a couple games out with a shoulder injury or whatnot. And he says, and somebody said, "Do you think that they'll be targeting your shoulder?" And he said, "Listen," he said, "I got a bounty on me out every game, so there's no different." But like you said, there's only a half a superstar on that New York Giants team. To me, Daniel Jones compared to last year obviously had a substantial year compared to what he had last year. But I just think overall, when you look at these two teams, I just think that Philadelphia has a better edge on this one. I'm going Philadelphia.
I mean, I think it's got to be Philly.
I think Philadelphia is just significantly better on every side. Under talked about story is the Eagles finished with like the top 5 most sacks in the NFL history.
Oh, really?
As a team. Yeah, I think they had 3 guys that were hovering around like 15 sacks. Like that. Wow. They were absolutely insane. I might have that a little skewed. It might have been 3 guys over 10, whatever it is.
Still.
But they had a stupid pass rush. They're both pretty much like I can go through their rosters, and about 17 of the 22 guys, Philly's better.
Right.
At that position. So
we pretty much agree Kansas City and Philly.
Yeah, unanimous selections on those.
And then Niners.
Niners was a unanimous selection.
And then we're split on I pick Bengals, you all pick Bills.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Well, give me a Super Bowl matchup.
Right now, with the way it's looking at it, if we're talking about I guess it would be San Francisco and Buffalo. And
that's what I'm going with.
At this point, I just have to I hate to choose a Mr. Irrelevant over an MVP candidate like Josh Allen, but it's not about, what
he does in that
is.
one position.
Yeah, it's I mean, I just think the San Francisco team right now, they're healthy, they are running on all cylinders, and they might not have the quarterback, but a football team is more than just a quarterback. Cash, I know you know that. They've got guys, they have elite guys everywhere. I'm just going to go San Francisco over Buffalo in the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna do the same thing. I mean, even though you do have an MVP caliber quarterback at Josh Allen, like you're saying, when you look at that San Francisco team as a whole, offense, defense, special teams, we've said that the hottest team is usually the one that wins the Super Bowl, but it also comes down to who's the healthiest. And like you have alluded to, they're fully strapped. They're ready to go, ready to rock and roll all the way to the Super Bowl. So, and I can sit here and talk about Fred Warner all day. I know I'm going right back to him, but I could literally sit there and watch that dude play all day. And then you got Christian McCaffrey on the other side. Then you got Deebo Samuels. And like how you said, they're talking about how McCaffrey, is receiver playing running back, and you got Deebo who's playing receiver as a running back or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's like when you look in last year's offseason of like why Deebo Samuels was wanting to get paid the way he was wanting to. Because I'm not just a receiver. I'm taking hits in between the tackles that, most running backs don't take these kind of hits. So when you got a guy that's that athletic, and I got to see it for firsthand when he played at South Carolina.
Yeah, you did.
Dude,
that's right.
One of the craziest moments in my career was when the first play from scrimmage, they put him in the slot. No, not put him in the slot, no. They put him in the boundary, and they put 3 receivers to the field, spread it all out. He takes 2 steps off the line, and I can't remember who was playing corner. Broke his ankles in 2 on a simple slant route. Took it to the house for 6. I was like, okay, that dude's a dog. And then the next year when we played him, even in kickoff, so like my first 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year, I played nothing but special teams. We literally, our kickoff call was Debo left or Debo right. So they had 2 main returners, and if Debo's on the left, we're kicking it to the right. If Debo's on the right, we're kicking it to the left. Like that's how athletic that guy is when he has a football in his hands. And so, when you got weapons like that, and like you said, like I've alluded to, you got a guy like Fred Warner back there, you got like Nick Bosa on the line, you got a guy, I know who you're talking about, I don't want to pronounce his name incorrectly too.
Like Telefungu or like out that
he was the guy, Todd, that had that unbelievable break that I talked about when we were watching the interception this past year.
Picked it off on like the 15-yard line.
Most perfect read I've ever seen a defensive back make. And it was such a clean cut, stepped right and jumped the ball right in front of the perfect timing, and just took it to the house. So I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers.
By the way, if Debo didn't break his leg against Kentucky in that game, I feel like they would have lost.
He did.
He was that good. He was that good. I think it might have been on maybe the slant game. It might have been that first one. Broke his leg in that game, but Debo was primed to just, do it.
Yeah.
You can.
Hello?
What do you need?
Who do you got?
Oh, no, she just dropped off. I ordered some bourbon, so I was gonna try to get her attention so I could have the bourbon.
Good. Go grab it.
Go grab it. Me and Todd's talking about it. Who you got? What's your pick?
I got the Bengals.
Bengals going to win the Super Bowl.
Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl. And we're going to do the show the week before.
You sound just like every other Kentucky.
I like Joe Burrow, and I like the weapons. I like the way that he uses.
Joe Burrow,
I like the way that
want.
I'm saying. I don't mean like as a person. I mean I like his game and the way that he's utilized his weapons.
They're down 3 offensive linemen due to injury.
I know that.
He got sacked 4 times last week.
I know that. They're going to be fine.
Okay.
They're going to be fine.
That's fine.
They have an incredible defense.
They do have an incredible defense.
Which, to be honest, until I watched the last couple games, was not aware of how good their defense is. I checked, by the way. He said he can hear it, but it's not that bad.
I was about to say, it sounds like a cannon going off.
There's a lot of background noise with the bowling alleys, but it's going to be just fine. It's going to be just fine.
We're going to do some surround compressing in post, Brandon. So I think we'll be all right.
Brandon's the best there is in post.
All right, so we talked about the NFL playoffs. We talked a little bit about NIL. You want to talk Kentucky basketball?
We got to talk Kentucky basketball. I'm
Dude,
going to let Angelo chip in on this.
I didn't realize that Oscar had such a big game last night until I read the stat line. 34 and 27.
37.
37 and 24. Jesus
massive
Christ!
Stat line.
That's like a Shaq stat line right there.
Oh, he had to go take a shit.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what he was doing. He was lying,
at least he didn't shit on himself like you did last week.
Say it in there.
3rd most points in the Cal era.
Who was the first 2? Do you know?
Malik.
Whoa! Water!
Can we hit pause? Or are we fine?
I think we're good. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But that's like a Shaq stat line of what he had last night.
Maria, Dad, can somebody get some paper towels? Paper towels. That's probably on me.
And we'll cut and be right back with you after
And why don't we plug in a Liquid IV message from our sponsors? Do you know who the first 2 were? Malik and who? Malik against North Carolina, right?
What's the question?
So, against who? Do you remember?
UCLA and the elite.
Yeah, you're right.
Sweet 16.
So, first and second most points. You're good.
Wait, say that one. What was the question again?
That Oscar had the 3rd most points in the Cal era.
Oh, in the Calipari era.
Last night, yeah. And
De'Aaron got, he posted 39 against UCLA in the Sweet 16 that year. So it was both in that same season that those 2 were better than what Oscar did.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, so we're transitioning to college basketball.
I picked up on that.
Yeah. So Kentucky, with a massive, let's just rewind a week. Massive loss at home against South Carolina. Terrible performance. Morale's extremely low. People calling for Cal's head. They want somebody to blame. You and I spoke on the pregame show, weather the storm, right? This guy's done this
that was
before.
your take.
Yeah, I'm saying he's done this before. Like, give him some time. We'll figure it out. And obviously there's all this chatter about the Texas thing and all this stuff. And I'm like, I said it on the air. Like, of course they're going to come after him. Of course they are. They have an unlimited budget. They can write a check. Thank you. Put 20% down for yourself, sweetheart. Appreciate you. They got the unlimited budget. They have the state of Texas. They have a insane amount of money. They have their own network for television, radio, everything. It's of course it's the market. It's a dream market for somebody that can step in there and own it. Cal would be a great fit there, but he gets to coach the greatest college basketball program in the country ever, and he's a Hall of Famer for a reason. And I don't think it just flips that quick. He didn't just lose it overnight, right? So anyway, long story short, the morale's as low as it's ever been against South Carolina. We go into Knoxville this past Saturday and beat them on the road. What were they? The sixth team in the country? Fifth best team in the country in the AP poll.
I think they said it was the first time in the Cal era when they were unranked going and having a true road game against a top 5 team. He's had a victory. I know that's a lot of qualifiers, but
it's actually
matters.
Surprising though that that's the case.
Well, Kentucky's rarely unranked with Cal.
Say it again.
Oh my God, Carol Baskin found
really?
dead.
Just now?
That's crazy. Jay Briscoe died too.
I know, I did see that.
That's crazy.
Rest in peace.
I think we'll get the Jay Briscoe thing, and everybody else will get the Carol Baskin part. Well, I hope he didn't tell us to lie to us. That would have been a.
I'm not saying he's lying. That's just okay. So breaking news.
That'd have been
Carol Baskin dead. Husband reportedly found alive.
Well, didn't she kill her husband, her
first husband?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
And what's his name? Tiger King's still in jail, right?
Okay, so the story's unraveling.
Hang on.
This is crazy.
Hang on. Give me that again.
Okay, we remember Carol's Baskin's husband. Yeah, we found him dead.
So she's not dead.
She's not dead.
Okay, never mind. Then scratch
breaking news: Carol Baskin is living. Living.
Great.
That's wild. So Carol Baskin's husband, who was supposedly murdered,
allegedly,
the Tiger King show painted to be dead, is actually alive. And where was he living? Paintsville? Costa Rica.
Wait, no. Okay, so now the dead husband's alive, is what you're saying. So nobody's dead. Oh my God.
That was the major thing.
I remember it being a major plot. Okay, he's alive. So when you all invited me on to Fully Unscripted, I should have realized that it meant Fully Unscripted because I did not have Tiger King, Carol Baskin, dead ex-husband alive on my... I feel, I'm going to have to get some strings up in here and connect those dots. But no. Okay, we got it. So Carol Baskin alive, dead husband alive.
Everybody's living.
Tiger King in jail.
Free that man.
Hey, free Tiger.
You would.
Free that man.
You freaking would.
I don't know much about it. I didn't even watch it.
You never watched it? Oh, you should watch it. You should absolutely
That's one of the few pop culture things I actually did.
You should you should absolutely. Best thing that ever happened to that Netflix documentary was COVID.
Oh, of course. I mean, it was made. It was.
But you should watch it, of all people.
He's a bigger piece of shit than you think, but I mean, a world-renowned character.
World-renowned.
Great heel. Be a great heel.
Oh yeah, a heel you'll like too, though. You know what I mean? Half the country's fucking rooting for him. That's for sure.
Okay, Kentucky basketball.
Yeah, get back to that.
I'll talk about wrestling.
So we
I'll
win.
talk wrestling all day.
We win on the road in Knoxville. Y'all can talk about wrestling while I go to the bathroom here in a minute. So, win on the road in Knoxville. The biggest question mark was what did we learn, right? Tennessee helped us a lot. I'm not going to sit here and beat around the bush. Their point guard missed 6 layups alone. I mean, they left 14, 16 points on the board, off the board, no problem. I mean, helped us a ton, right? I thought that they did a pretty fantastically terrible job, Rick Barnes did, of taking advantage of Kentucky's weaknesses on defense. They should have picked Oscar in a pick and roll, been going downhill, having him backpedal the whole game. He'd either gotten in foul trouble or gotten absolutely cooked, and we'd have had to put him on the bench. That's what they should have done. That's what Georgia tried to come out and do. And don't get me wrong, forgive me, my number 0, Roberts, right? His last name? Roberts.
I didn't remember a single name of him.
Phenomenal ball handler, a little loose with it, but you know.
Oh, his kid drew all those fouls.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
But did that, and Oscar did well. He defended himself, or defended well. He showed and got back on defense, got back to his man, took the lob away. No complaints there. Ended with 37 and 20. Right, 37 24.
I think so.
I think it was.
So.
We'll check. Fully unscripted. Yeah. I'm gonna start.
We knew. I'll check it right now. We knew it was over 33 and over 23. Mm-hmm. I know that for sure.
Yeah. I actually got to watch the game. I went to the game with his agent, and he was talking about how personal that he's taken this year, and the fact that it's. They've tried to paint this picture of who he is and how he's fallen off from last year and the workouts and things that he's put himself through and not being in the gym as much and everything. And we're so outside of the locker room, right? Like we don't get to see the dynamic of what's going on with this team. For the first time all year, it looked like
37-24.
37-24. It looked like all of the unit was cohesive from Cal all the way down the line. Cal did a phenomenal job in pregame, did a phenomenal job of preparing them with film, did a phenomenal job at halftime and timeouts of making adjustments, which he's been questioned on a lot. The lineup changes were significant and in my opinion, warranted. And don't get me wrong, Severe's a phenomenal point guard and he's an All-American, has a place on the floor and should be playing quite a bit of minutes. But that lineup that kind of stretched the lead and that we used in Tennessee a lot and used to start this game, even whether you interchange Chris or whoever else in that fifth slot, I think has been extremely effective for us. But long story short, all I'm saying is, before I lead into what you have to say about this, the unit was cohesive, and it's the first time all year that I looked at us as the aggressor. First time.
And there's a point to be made too, where Calipari,
against Tennessee, I'm sorry.
Yes.
It was the first time we looked like the aggressor.
Yes. And we're talking about being without Wheeler. Mm-hmm. And Calipari, he always talks about, he's an NBA guy. He's bringing kids to the NBA this, NBA that. And obviously that's why a kid like Severe Wheeler comes to Kentucky instead of being a superstar at Georgia to take that next step. You get a Reed Travis, you get a Nate Sestina, you get these kids that come from other places. We want to take that next step. Wheeler, so divisive in the Kentucky fan circle.
It's really split right down the middle.
I've seen it split more towards the anti-Wheeler stuff.
Well, okay, I don't mean 50-50.
No, but I get what you mean.
Wording. I mean, you either love him or hate him.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you can't just be a passive Severe Wheeler fan. If I'm Cal, I say, you know what? There's a guy that won an MVP in the NBA that's coming off the bench right now, and his team's better because of it, because it highlights his skills. That's Russell Westbrook with the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay. Russell Westbrook was a starter. They started off the year 2-10. He started coming off the bench and running the second unit, and that team started winning and winning and winning and winning. And it's not because Russell Westbrook's a bad player, but because you're trying to fit him around LeBron and AD, make that Oscar and Kaysen in this case. Mm-hmm. Maybe he doesn't fit when the other pieces can work better. Then
I agree.
Wheeler comes in with the second unit, then you start blitzing teams.
I believe that he is a phenomenal point guard, but I think him being on the floor takes away more than it offers offensively.
With certain units.
With our best unit.
Now that's a point to be made, because you get their benches, you get their subs coming in, and then we put Wheeler out there, put him around some shooters and some shot blockers. Imagine if you can get like Frederick, Reeves, let's say Toppin and Collins, or Onyenso getting in there. Then you're talking about a team that can start pushing the ball up the floor, and Wheeler's better utilized than having Oscar, who needs to be more of a half court.
But if Kaysen's out there, if it's Kaysen, CJ, and Antonio, or well, obviously all three of them aren't going to be out there if Severe is, but based on the way that we've been playing lineups, based on the way that we've been effective, I like the way we rotated yesterday. I like the substitution methods that we used yesterday. Bring Severe off the bench, If you start, I guess yesterday we started Chris Livingston instead of who came off the bench yesterday? Did we start Kaysen and Antonio?
I want to say yes. It should have been Kaysen, Antonio, Toppin, Oscar, and was Livingston the fifth to start?
So CJ came off the bench.
Yeah, let me look it up. I'll look it up.
Okay. Regardless, if you start it, you have to have Antonio or CJ on the floor at all times, in my opinion. One of the two to shoot. Oscar's obviously got to be out there as much as he can
Reeves came off the bench. My apologies.
Okay, yeah. So CJ started in Reeves' place. So if that's the case, fine. So you bring CJ or Chris off the bench first. You got Severe as a backup point. You got Onyenso as a backup big man. And you got the kid I like, Adu, a lot. And he's got to get some minutes. That kid is a fighter. He's got to get some minutes. He's got to be out there. Like what he's doing a lot. We're going to need him next year. If he's not playing now, he's going to transfer. So, and I'm not saying I'm not saying you play. I know I'm not saying you play him to keep him from transferring. I'm just saying I think he needs that development anyway. So, and I think he deserves to be in the lineup. He's got a lot of talent and he works his butt off. And right now, I'll take a fighter over a skill player every time. Right now.
Yeah. I don't think. I mean, to be fair though, I don't think anybody's necessarily playing lazy. I mean, unconfident at times, maybe. But
yeah, lazy's not the word.
I mean, at this point, are we going to give Tiero some of Toppin's minutes and kind of make it a little funky and use it a little weird? I know Tiero isn't Toppin in the same stylistic way, but then again, is Toppin helping get over the 0 plus minus?
I mean, to be completely honest, the way that Cal's offense is ran, and a lot of it is this motion, these double downs and ball screens and everything. Like, there is no position. It's positionless basketball for the most part. As far as obviously there's bigs and guards, but for the most part, they can kind of shift and move as necessary. And that's what he fits into more than, that's what we need. That's what we need. So throw him out there and use him as the catalyst that makes the lineup shift one way or the other. Because, you're not going to have him. He can make us big or small. It depends on how you utilize him, right? I think we're starting to figure that out. The way that Cal used the rotation against Georgia last night, which this episode will come out on Friday. Today's Wednesday. Last night against Georgia was Tuesday. The way that he utilized that rotation, the way that he utilized the do, that's what I think will be effective, and that's the way we're going to be able to advance through the postseason.
I work with a bunch of guys that are big fan of both of you all, and they were talking earlier, and they're wondering, NCAA tournament or not? I thought after that South Carolina game, it was donezo. I thought it was over.
What we saw in the South Carolina game was not an NCAA tournament team. In fact, they might not have even been an NIT team. I mean, there was no cohesion whatsoever. They were completely discombobulated. They had no fight at all to speak of. No adjustments were made. Guys were quitting on each other, pointing fingers. Guys get backdoored. They're pointing to somebody else. Oh, it's his responsibility. You're not going to win ball games that way. You don't even deserve to be in them. And in the last week and a half, it's not because we won. I'm not changing my opinion because we beat Tennessee. I'm not changing my opinion because we beat Georgia. The mindset, the approach, the fight, the cohesion was different. You could see it in the way that they were playing. They were fighting for each other. They were on the help side for each other. They weren't isolating guys on an island. They weren't pointing blame. They were accepting that this is a unit. Like, we win and lose together. That team I can get behind. That is an NCAA tournament team, and that's an NCAA tournament team that can win. It's the same guys, same team, same skill set, but they're playing together, and they're confident in each other, and they know they got their brother. They're being their brother's keeper. They got each other's back. That's a team that can win.
What do they have to do? I mean, finishing the year, what do they have to finish the regular season with?
They have to build on everything that they've done.
Hold on.
Sorry, go ahead.
What do they have to do, or finish, what record do they have to finish with in the regular season to where the SEC tournament result doesn't matter?
They're going to have to steal a couple, in my opinion. I think they're going to have to get, let's see, we go on the road to Arkansas and Alabama, right?
We'll face Vandy soon.
Yeah.
But Alabama's down one player.
Oh, God.
Oh, I don't even want to go into that.
Oh, okay. I was wondering.
I mean, we can. We can. But let's finish this thought, and then we'll go into that. Okay. So they go on the road to Alabama. We played Alabama at home, right? Yeah. Right.
Well, we played them on the road.
We played them on the road.
If we play them again, it'll be here.
Yeah. We play Arkansas on the road.
Well, Arkansas at home, too.
We have Tennessee at home. Right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I'm going to pull up the
schedule
schedule because what I want to look at here, I just kind of want to...
So the short answer is we're going to have to steal a couple of those games that we may or may not be favored in.
Cash, will you keep tally of, because I'm going to ask Todd win or loss, and I want to know what our record is, just Todd guessing, and what that'll be at the end, okay? I've got it right here. Saturday, home against Texas A&M.
Win.
On the road against Vanderbilt, 9 p.m. Tuesday.
Win.
Kansas, home, 8 p.m.
Loss.
Ole Miss road, 9 p.m. Tuesday.
Win.
Now we're into February, okay? So our record is, what is that? You said Ole Miss is a win on that one? Okay. So we're 3-1. Is that right, Cash?
Yep, 3-1.
3-1. Florida, home, 8:30 Saturday, ESPN.
Win.
Number 25 at the moment, Arkansas, home, 9 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Win.
Wow. On the road against Georgia, noon Saturday.
Win.
Mississippi State, road, 8:30 on a Wednesday.
Win.
Tennessee, home, 1 p.m. Saturday.
Loss.
On the road, Florida, Wednesday, ESPN, 7 o'clock. Auburn, home, 4 p.m. Saturday. Oh, look at that.
That's late February?
That is Saturday, February 25th. Spring right around the corner.
Almost turkey season.
I'll say a win. I think we're going to be a different team coming in.
Vanderbilt home, March 1st, okay? And then on the road, Arkansas, 2 p.m. on a Saturday.
Loss.
To close it. Cash?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10-3.
So that puts us at about, so only 9 losses going into
We're
the tournament.
in. We're in at that.
It sounds like it. Okay. So pretty much the more.
But we're in, what, a 7 seed?
Depending on the tournament. SEC tournament, yeah. I'd say the moral of the story is that I guess I overreacted. I figured when Kentucky, I mean, the Tennessee is a big swing piece, but Kentucky had, at the time, like 0 quad 1 wins and then a quad 4 loss when they lost to South Carolina, and it just looked bleak, man. I can't figure this team out.
I will say,
game to game.
It's going to depend. Like, we need Tennessee, Bama, and Arkansas to be winning through the SEC when we beat them. And I think Tennessee will probably get us back. I mean, they're good. They're good. They had a really bad game. No offense to Kentucky. Take the W any way you can get it. But we won by 3, right? They missed 6 layups. The foul count was skewed beyond belief. And I'm not saying it was wrong. I'm just saying we had a lot of help. And that's why you play the game. Come March, doesn't matter. Like that, I mean, we were the better team several times in March and got beat. Or April. That doesn't matter at that time. But during the regular season, they get another shot at us. They're not going to do that twice. They're not going to shoot the ball that bad. They're not going to miss layups. They're not going to prevent. They're going to know to get to the foul line. Going to be a different time. We're going to see the team, ready to come to fight when we play them again. And Tennessee's good. So that team worries me. Arkansas is pretty good, well coached. Alabama's good, well coached. Those 3 are going to be tough. And I think if we can skirt by with that record, what do we say, 9-3?
10-3.
10-3 the rest of the year. I'll take that. Kansas is tough too, and they're pissed off about last year, and they're pissed off they just lost to Kansas State.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. Get their revenge.
Won't be a 30-point loss, but I hope I have to put my foot in my mouth. I hope that Kentucky, that this is the turn of the corner that they needed. But in my opinion, right now, and again, it's our job to speak what we see, right, and be skeptical.
I kind of want
to. They need to prove that they've learned and grown from what they've been through. Georgia's not good. We should have beat Georgia, right? We should have beat Georgia at home. They're not good. They have a great coach, Mike White. We should have beat South Carolina. I mean, we did beat Georgia. We should have beat Georgia, though. It was expected to beat Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm saying the reason that everybody's like, hoorah, is because we just come off that win against Tennessee as well on the road, right? So you combine those two, and now we're feeling real good about ourselves. If we'd have lost to Tennessee and beat Georgia, everybody would have been like, yeah, but it's Georgia. So I'm saying, like, don't let that the highs are never as high as they seem, the lows is never as low as they seem. Cal's famous for saying you're never as good as you think you are, you're never as bad as you think you are. It's true, very true. But think about if we'd have lost to Tennessee, if we'd have got beat by Tennessee by the spread, which I think was 11 or 13, whatever it was, 13 and a half. If we'd have gotten beat by Tennessee by 13 points, and then we came back home and we beat Georgia by 3, which is what the spread was then, do you think that the morale is as high as it is now? Of course not. Everybody's like, oh, they figured it out. I don't think we figured it out. I think we got lucky on Tennessee with a lot of help, and I think we brought that quote-unquote false confidence back to Rupp when we played Georgia, who is a worse team, and we performed as we should have. Now it's time to build on that, quote, false confidence, make it real confidence, and actually get better, fix the problems that we're having. And if it takes a false confidence type of win on the road when we got a lot of help from the Vols to get us over that hump, I'll take it. Great. But don't treat that as a Band-Aid. Don't get blindsided and be like, oh, I thought we were better. Like, learn, progress, identify the issues, execute, continue to get better. And this team has a high ceiling. They really do. But if you're stuck in that funk, that fog that they were in before we got to Knoxville after the South Carolina loss, I mean, you saw we're divided amongst a fan base. You think they don't see it? They smell blood in the water. So we got to treat it as exactly what it is. It's every game is an experience and a learning. We got to get better and better and better and better and better. Every practice, every game, every possession.
Speaking of that Kansas game, last year wasn't Kentucky expected to get blown out?
Yeah,
and they ended
beat them
up
by 30.
Blowing out. Do you, Cash? I wanted to ask you this because I'm always interested. Todd played on enough top 1 teams in the country for long enough. I don't want to ask him this. Was there ever a game that while you played where everybody was projecting against you all and you all came out and just
almost every game.
Stomped someone though? Like a game specifically like
Mississippi State my junior year. That's when they had Nick Fitzgerald at quarterback. Kylan Hill was at running back.
Wait, that was the year that you all got stomped.
No, right? This was at home.
Oh, the home game. Gotcha.
Not the 56-yarder that Money Mac hit. This is one where we came out and...
You're talking about in 2018 when Benny had did the Heisman campaign for Benny afterwards. Yeah. Got it.
And I just remember that whole week, Coach House, who's now the defensive coordinator at LSU, he was just talking about how they were going to run that veer option right down our throat. Kylan Hill's going to have, 150 yards, and Nick Fitzgerald's going to have 150 yards and all that stuff. And I think we ended up holding them to like 8 yards total rushing. And, that was a good game. So I remember that, obviously,
it's a great example.
Kentucky football, like in recent years, like we were always picked to win like 3-4 games, all that stuff. And so like everybody always counted us out no matter what. And so, and I hate having to talk about it in a context of like, Kentucky basketball, versus Kentucky football, because we've had this whole stupid thing since summer about being a football school versus a basketball school. And I think in general, as soon as that happened, that divided the fan base more than anything. Yeah. And I think that's why you've seen such a downfall, not only in basketball, but in football too, this past year. And so, I mean, I think after that comment was made and after it was kind of a big deal, I think that's kind of when it all went downhill just for this year in general. But, I'm not going to sit here and act like I watch Kentucky basketball religiously. I did not watch 1 second of that game last night, just near to the mere fact of that I'm not a big basketball guy, just to be quite honest with you. And but going back to Todd talking about confident, like false confidence versus this true confidence, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but how do you not have the most confidence in the world in your ability to go out there and play every single night when you're a McDonald's All-American, you're being coached by a Hall of Famer, and you got recruited to come to the University of Kentucky, which is pro-noun basketball, how do you not literally every single day step out there in that court and go, I'm the shit, you're about to smell it?
So you're saying it's a basketball school?
Absolutely not.
See, like, this is what I'm talking about.
Absolutely not. See, that's the reason why our fan base is divided, number one.
That's the reason why right there, because dipshits like that.
And number two, speaking of dipshits, y'all both made me look like a dipshit. I've been doing this show the entire time with my headphones going down me like I'm listening to an iPod, and then you all are over here. I'm like, why can't I see Cash's? I was like, he did a good job. And I look at yours, I'm like, why can I not see Todd's? And then I notice... And I'm just over here looking like I said, I got like my little shuffle.
Everybody wasn't built for the league.
Yeah, everybody wasn't built for it. So yeah, this is like 2 hours worth of me looking stupid. So that Cash, you're cool.
Which is significantly less than you spend looking stupid on any given day. So
points are made. Points were made.
Oh.
Hey, do you remember when you yelled at me like last night because you plugged in the audio wrong on the headset? You remember that?
No.
Oh. Okay.
No,
just curious.
I've never messed up. Not once.
All right. So let's find a way to wrap this up. Brandon's yawning over here. We got to get something to eat. I need a pretzel from over here. We need to get Rebecca on here to talk about where we're sitting. So we're sitting in District 7, the newest restaurant in Lexington.
Why they've been bowling for an hour.
Yeah, which is why you hear the bowling lanes behind us. There's eight bowling lanes over here, but it's the newest restaurant in Lexington, over here in the distillery district. It's called District 7, and we're very happy to be here. It's been a lot of fun.
That's some food. It's really good.
Yeah, we need to get her over here to talk about it for a second. Brandon, you want to take a quick break? Should we just take a quick break? He's going to go get her real quick.
She can have my spot if you want.
Yeah.
I want to sign off.
Sign off. What are you going to sign off with?
I don't know. Are we still recording?
We're rolling. So is Kentucky a NCAA tournament team? No?
I mean, they will be after your record. After they go.
You don't think they're going to have that record?
I don't know. I don't know what to think about them. I mean, this is the first time I don't know. At the beginning of the year, I could pick as we were going through these games. Who's going to give us a tough time? Who are we going to beat easily? What's going to happen? And then after the UCLA loss, I have no idea from game to game. Game to game, I have no idea.
The UCLA loss?
Kentucky lost to UCLA?
Yeah, that's where you think they turned for you?
My predicting turn. I couldn't nail down a single thing. We go into games. Yeah, I thought we were going to beat South Carolina. We didn't. Thought we were going to lose to Tennessee. We didn't.
It's a roll of the dice. Yeah, it's a roll of the dice.
Yeah,
but it depends
behind the 8 balls, they like to say.
Yeah, yes. It depends which team comes out and shows up.
It's true.
But I tell you what, you and I are going to do it again on Saturday.
We will.
Who is it?
Saturday, it's Texas A&M.
Texas A&M, that's right. Home. 2 o'clock. 1 o'clock pregame show, ESPN Radio. Angelo Carriero
Angelo Carriero at Angelo Media. See, you got me. Okay.
Yeah.
Angelo, I like the Angelo Carriero.
Look into the camera and plug it.
Angelo Carriero at Angelo Media Lex. If this is my last time with these wonderful gentlemen here,
it won't
Cash,
be.
it was an awesome time with you, Todd. Not so much, but that's how it goes when we're a football school, baby. And I'm just saying, that's the way I feel. I don't care. But no, thank you all a lot. Hopefully, I can be a part of it going forward any way I can, and I'll give it up because I'm gonna go see if I can get some extra food over here.
Yeah, see if you can find me a pretzel and a little glass of bourbon.
Absolutely, won't do that for you. Thank you all very much.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna hear from our sponsors, Liquid IV, and then we will be joined by the business owner / Scenecast owner
of owners.
Owners of owners.
Yep.
Rebecca. We'll be right back. We want to take a moment to tell you about our friends at Liquid IV. Liquid IV's Hydration Multiplier is a great tasting, daily electrolyte drink mix that utilizes the breakthrough science of cellular transport technology to deliver hydration to the bloodstream faster and more efficiently than water alone. Just add the electrolyte powder to your water and let CTT do the rest. With 3 times the electrolytes of sports drinks as well as 5 essential vitamins, Liquid IV comes in convenient, travel-friendly, single-serving packets. It is non-GMO with no artificial ingredients and comes in 8 delicious flavors, including lemon lime, pina colada, watermelon, passion fruit, guava, acai berry, apple pie, and my personal favorite, strawberry. So head on over to liquidiv.com. That's liquid-iv.com and plug in code fullyunscripted at checkout to enjoy 25% off of your order. Liquid IV, fueling life's adventures. Welcome back to Fully Unscripted. Here's Cash Daniel.
What's up?
He's been lazy this episode. No? Oh, I forgot you don't have a mic.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here talking basketball for a fucking hour. And I guess I'll just scroll through my phone.
I mean, I try to at least offer my opinion a little bit on football.
I don't even watch it, though.
Oh, come on. You know better than that.
I have no desire to watch anything that I'm not, like, fully interested in, which is only Vikings, turkey hunting, and football. So
Vikings, the TV show.
If I were to talk about the Minnesota Vikings, I would say the Minnesota Vikings. So if I say Vikings,
fair enough.
It's the TV show.
Understood. And what character are you?
My favorite character is Ragnar Lothbrok. That dude's a bad son of a bitch.
There you go. Okay. Here we are with Rebecca Burnworth.
Hey.
The owner of this beautiful establishment.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about. We gave a little. You weren't over here to hear us. It's loud in here with the bowling alley, so the in-ears are saving us right now.
Very impressed by this.
Yeah, it's saving
very
us.
Impressed by the mics.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? It blocks most
amazing.
of it out, and the in-ears, allow us to hear Cash because he struggles with vocalizing himself well. He can't. He didn't know how to get it out, so we gotta.
I know that's not true.
Yeah. So, but we gave a soft introduction for you and where we're sitting here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got going on here? I know you opened yesterday, brand new.
Yesterday, 4:00.
Mm-hmm.
We opened the doors. So we're kind of doing what's called a soft opening this week. So we are, where do I even start? So District 7 Social is a social hall. So for us, it's a beer hall, it's a game hall. We tried to do kind of an interesting mix of games that people felt like they could come in, they could just kind of lounge around and just gather with their friends. We wanted to throw in a really, really good menu. So we actually have a food, I don't know, what would you call that? A food window, a food stall. It's a full menu of offerings from small plates to larger platters, things to share. But it's called Germanish.
Yeah.
So I'm really German. Like my family, I'm about 90% French German. So I wanted to bring kind of my heritage literally to the table and share that with everyone. We're trying to do the same thing at the bar. So we have a lot of German wines. We've got, and I feel like everybody tells me, they're like, oh, I hate German wines. I'm like, why? And they're like, Rieslings, they're so sweet. But we've challenged ourselves with finding, do you think that's too tough?
I normally, but Riesling normally, but I haven't had, I was going to actually ask what the identifier is for German wine. Like, I don't know. So I'm gonna go up there and try some.
Yeah, I would love for that. But we have some dry Rieslings as well. So I think that's a fun challenge for people to try Rieslings that aren't sweet, because that is normally the thing that they think. But there's some interesting varietals there, too, that are from Germany that we have, as well as some German, how can I say this, like brandies and liqueurs that we've incorporated into some traditional cocktails. So kind of our twist on them that are really approachable, but still kind of a heritage classic type things to have. So.
Well, as an architect, we expected nothing less than what you've done with this place, and it's awesome. You all have been extremely hands-on. You lovingly.
We're tired.
We're
so tired.
Sort of a term of endearment. You call Cash and I and Brandon your roommates over at Scenecast, which is obviously your office for your architecture firm, and you've been heavily involved in a lot of different things that have gone on in Lexington and bars that have opened, and you've really put your hand in on this and made it your own, and it's been awesome. And you've been very focused on it for the last few months. So we're excited to see you get to sit back.
I haven't seen my roomies in a long time.
I know, but I got to, we got to come in and tour the place the other day and have a drink, and you got to, sit down and enjoy a glass of that wine for all your hard work, and it's beautiful. You've also got the 15 tap beer.
Yeah,
right?
The self-serve beer wall.
Yeah, self-serve beer wall.
We kept traveling during COVID. We would take the kids and try to find some nice activities to get into.
Yeah, take the kids to the beer wall. Yeah, of course. I know what you're saying.
I mean, we were with them 24/7, which was that was a lot. But yeah, so that really is. We were seeking out places where they could go that would how can I say, satisfy the adults.
Yeah.
But also be appropriate for them as well. And I think we were trying to hit that same spot with this too, and get the beer wall in. And was Brandon, who doesn't have the mic, says all the time, we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
So I think traveling,
yes,
it is. But traveling and seeing like the beer wall elements, the duckpin, just seeing social halls in general.
Is that what this is called, duckpin?
Duckpin bowling, that's right.
Okay, I didn't know that's what it was called.
I've been calling it mini bowling.
That's what I've been calling it too.
So it was actually developed in Boston, as what I understand. So it's actually historically was shorter, and I think it was developed for a bar.
Got it. Okay, so duckpin. That explains why
bowling.
Cash can't get a pin.
Duckpin.
Can't hit a duck. Makes a lot of sense. It's adding up now.
That's awesome.
And you've also got, which I can't wait to watch you attempt to swing a club.
This is going to be good.
I just had a complete brain fart. The
golf
simulator in the other room.
So we do have a golf simulator as well. We've got a ping pong lounge we're sitting over here next to, and the golf lounge is back there. Mm-hmm. The golf lounge, though, I'm really excited about that. Well, I can't wait to see how it parties. But that is basically a 10 by 20 screen. Mm-hmm. So game nights, and maybe having our own Super Bowl party here.
Yeah.
If you want to come. But I think for game nights, that's going to be really the place to come watch the game, and maybe even, we'll make it available for rent for like the whole room or just the golf area itself. I think we're doing the golf will have peak hours, non-peak hours, and then the duck pin. Both of those will be rentable by the hour.
Awesome.
So
yeah, I love what you all have done with the ambiance alone is fantastic. But even your husband mentioned possibly, throughout the week, putting even like kids movies on in here and allowing families to come in and do the duck pin bowling and watch.
They all gravitate towards the grass. I don't know what
really?
it is. They see the green, they're like, wow, like they're just blown away by fake grass. They're like, that's where we need to go.
That's awesome.
They're just always like rolling around in there, so we'll see how that goes.
I love it, but we appreciate you having us here.
Yeah,
and,
thanks for
allowing
coming.
us to come in.
I missed you guys.
Yeah, I missed you too. We finally get to hang out.
So long.
But yeah, we've obviously your hospitality at Scenecast and what you've allowed us to do, and with Brandon 78 and Brandon's help, been able to get this off the ground. So we're absolutely happy to be here, and I'm gonna go hit that beer wall here in a second.
Woo-hoo. Sounds
we got
good.
it figured out. You got a suggestion for me? You have something on tap that you suggest, like a German beer that I need to try? I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
I know,
Don't
that
think
is
too
totally
hard.
putting me on the spot right there.
I'll tell you what.
I do have some favorites. There's honestly is this bad that I'm going to recommend a cider? But
That's okay.
But the Country Boy Orange Cream Cider is really good.
Okay.
And that's on right now. So.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give
good.
that a shot. We're big Country Boy fans over here.
Oh, yeah. Rebecca, seriously, thank you for everything you've done for us, allowing us to use Scenecast. We love the studio, and we actually love this place. So we'll be here more than just recording podcasts.
Good. Well, I hope we can all call it home. It's kind of got this kind of groovy vibe, and we've been enjoying seeing our friends here over the past couple nights, and just getting used to this kind of chill, loungy vibe. So
yeah, you get to turn it off for a little while and take a chill pill. You've earned it. You've earned it. I'm gonna go get me a pretzel, and I've heard your bartender was really hyping up is it a steak plate?
Oh, so
is that what it's called?
Yeah, no, that's a really good one, because there's a traditional German dish called rouladen, which is where you take steak, pound it out, roll pickles into it, and what we were trying to do was deconstruct that plate to where it was a little bit better presentation. So this is basically deconstructed rouladen. So it's some pickled veggies, some steak. It's delicious.
Awesome. I'm going to give that a shot, and then I'm going to go over there and try that Country Boy.
Awesome.
Appreciate you having us. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
This has been a very successful blast of an episode of Fully Unscripted, and we will see you again next week. Be safe. Be a friend. Tell a friend.
Be a friend.
Come on, chime in for me
one
time. Jeez, you checked out 30 minutes ago. Love y'all.